So I would say the biggest fear with most business owners employing someone is that you fear that they're not going to bring their A game. And so, like we said just now, is we look at it incorrectly. Instead of thinking of an employee as an investment, where a person comes on board, we pay them, let's just say 20K a month. If they bring in 60K a month's worth of value, if they're a salesperson, they bring in that much value, then it's a quantifiable gain. If a person comes in and does 20K's worth of profit per month and their salary is 20K, they've taken up some space, they've occupied some time, they've been in your world for a certain amount of time, and you're either going to improve them or you're going to flick them on. And like you said, you're going to test out an employee. It's like when you get married, how many of you dated 20 people while you were dating? 20 people at one time. How many of you did that? Because this is like the most important person that you have to meet. This person that's going to share your life. What do? You go on a date, you kind of get on with each other. You have a couple of dops so you can just chill out a bit. And then you say, I think you're the one. This is going to be your future partner for your whole life. You are the one. No, they're not the one. They're a concept of what the one could be. And then what you do is you spend the next 8, 10, 15 years trying to change them into the person that you want them to become. Instead of interviewing, i.e. dating. I'm not talking about shagging. I'm talking about coffee date again and again to find out, is this person the right fit for me? Because two halves do not make a whole. You know that concept? I'm this person, he's such a good mix. After 8 years, you want to kill each other. Because they're so, the person that's messy and so forth versus the person that's neat and tidy. The neat and tidy person will never actually accept it. You can't love through underpants on the floor. Toothpaste cap not put on. Toilet seat up. Goes and takes a dump and doesn't clean the bowl. Some people are just pigs. It's not a good fit. So employees are exactly the same. You have to find, like you said, I love that concept of let the person work in your office for 3 days, right? When we employ somebody in our creative team, we interview them at 5:15 on a Friday afternoon. Now, why do we do that? Because that's a horrible time to go for an interview. It's like, hey man, it's the weekend. And then if they are kind of the right person, we give them a task that they need to hand in on Monday morning at 7 o'clock. And why do we do that? Because we want to find out, can they do the work? The CV is one thing. Everyone's got a great CV. They look fantastic on their CV. But in real life, they're rubbish. So we give them a specific task with specific guidelines, with specific outcomes required. They go away and they go and do the task. They bring it back on Monday. And then we know two things. Number one, that they're willing to work on weekends. Because if a person says, oh, no, I can't work on the weekend. No, it's my family time. Then they're not the right person in that type of position. Because if a customer wants their website done now, I want my website finished within 3 days, sometimes we need to work overtime. And that's the person that you want, isn't it? The person that's willing to go out of the framework of the 8 to 5. So they're willing to do that. Plus, of course, they get the actual job done and they handed it in on time. Has a sense of pride to hand it in on time. You employ the wrong people, you pay the price. But you've got to have a look at a person and you have to put a value in terms of what they're going to do for you, what they're going to bring in for you, because if the value exceeds what you're paying them, then they're actually an investment. Your staff are an investment. They're not a liability. And most companies, the smaller companies, the problem that you have is cash flow is the reason why you don't employ someone. That's your rationale. You're thinking, I don't have money to employ someone. And when I do have money, I'll employ someone. Then that person sucks up all the profit that you've made yourself. Right? Now you've got to get them going and get them, they don't get going fast enough. And then what happens? You fire them before they get good. So you employ the wrong person, you try and train the wrong person, and then you fire them, and the whole thing leaves you, you get the pain. And then after that, you won't employ anybody else who says, I've employed so many duds. Right? How many duds are there?
So many.
95% of the people, 95% of the people out there are flipping useless. Why? There's no pride anymore. People want to work for free. You know, I love it when they come for the interview and do you have medical aid and do you have this and do you have that, and asking for 3 million guarantees from you. But if you say to them, can you do this? It's like, don't pressurize me.
It's not in my job description.
Yeah, it's not in my job description. That's why you need the clause in the contract. You will be required to do whatever is asked of you within a work period, which is obviously reasonable and so forth. So we don't have a contract that says you will only do this. The contract says, while you are here on this premises, you will do what we tell you to do. Now, we're not going to ask you to kill someone. We're not going to ask you to do something that is immoral. We're going to ask you to do the work that happens in this office. And if it means making